In this question, we are told to express -4 minus 4 root 3i in the form r cos theta plus I sin theta in part A, and in part B, we're supposed to express it in exponential form. So we are going to look at how do you convert this Cartesian form of a complex number to modulus argument form and exponential form. So in order to work out this question, the first thing that we need to find the principal argument, and also we need to find the modulus of this complex number. So we are going to start by finding the modulus. Modulus of z is actually noted as r, which is usually given by x squared plus y squared. In that case, we're going to say this is going to be our x is this part and our y is this part, because if we are to represent this number on the Argand diagram, we are going to say if this is 0 and this is the imaginary z and this part is the real z, real axis, we have -4 here. For the x part, this is -4, which is representing this particular point. And then on the imaginary axis, we are going to go down to where we have 4 root 3, and actually this is also a negative value, so which will mean that this now point will go somewhere here. This point will be here, and then we are going to say now this is going to be the angle, or rather the point where this complex number is. Yeah, now you can see that. So remember, the angle that we are talking about now, we are going to find the value of alpha. Alpha, we said, in order to find alpha, we are going to say alpha is tan inverse of y over x. We had looked at that in the previous section. So right now we want to see when you are specifically told that theta is within this range, meaning this is the principal argument that you are looking for. So let us first work out the modulus, and that is going to be -4 squared plus 4 root 3 squared, and this is going to translate to 16 plus, this is actually 4 squared is going to be 16 times 3, and this is because if you square root 3, it's going to give you 3, so meaning that this is going to translate to root of 16, and 16 times this is going to translate to what? It's going to translate plus 48. We're going to get this is actually root 64, which is going to be 8. So the value of r for this complex number is actually 8. So the next thing that we need to find is this particular angle that we have at this point. And we did say that this angle that we are talking about is going to be, this angle alpha is going to be tan inverse of 4 root 3 over 4. If you work it out, let's see if I work it out. I told you when you are working it out, so long as you know in which quadrant it is, you can just ignore those signs. Of course, even negative divided by negative is going to be a positive value, and in that case we shall have tan inverse of actually 4 and 4 will cancel out, so we are finding the tan inverse of root 3. So if you work it out, you are going to get your answer as what? You see what you are getting? Are you able to see that? We are going to get a third pi. So this one is actually 1/3 pi as this angle at this given point. So something I would like you to remember is that we are given the range from negative pi to pi. So meaning that if you use this route, if you go anti-clockwise, those are positive angles, and by the time you are here, the angle you have is more than pi, because up to this point you have pi, which is 180 degrees. Then for you to reach this point, you have to actually add the alpha that we have at this point. This pen is not writing. Let me try it. Oh, yeah, actually. So in this question, if you are told that theta is between 0 and 2 pi, if you are told that theta is between 0 and 2 pi, you are to measure positive angles, and positive angles are measured anti-clockwise like that. So meaning the answer to this angle theta will have been pi plus this alpha that we have here, which is 1 over 3 pi. If you were told that your angle should be given within this range, you were to measure the angle anti-clockwise, so your pi will have been that. So if we could have added pi, we were to get, our answer will have been 4 over 3 pi, and this will have been the answer in this case if you are given theta between 0 and 2 pi. Because when we were looking at this question, we say that this angle for the condition for you to find the principal argument, the angle can be between negative pi and pi, or it can be between 0 and 2 pi. So which means when you have this, you are going to measure the angles anti-clockwise because they can be more than pi. But if you are finding now, in the case where we are given here, in the case that we have in this particular question here, we are told that theta is between pi and negative pi. So it means that there's no way this angle can be more than pi. So you are going to measure in the clockwise direction. You are going to measure the angle in clockwise direction. And when you measure angles in clockwise direction, you are going to have actually a negative angle in that case. So meaning that this angle here is the one that is going to represent this argument that we're talking about. So therefore, theta in this case is going to be this angle that we have here in the clockwise direction. So meaning that this, because up to this point it will be pi, up to this point it's going to be pi. That then since we're measuring this angle in the clockwise direction, so we're going to get a negative angle here. So if you move like that, the maximum angle you are going to get is negative pi. So we're going to say that now from here you can see it's pi plus alpha. Now this is in the third quadrant. So that will mean that negative pi plus alpha, and our alpha is actually 13 pi. And the reason as to why we are saying it's negative pi is because we are measuring this angle in the clockwise direction, and when you move clockwise direction from the real axis, you are getting negative angles. But if you are moving conventionally in the anti-clockwise direction, you are getting positive angles. So if we work out this, we are going to get our answer to be negative 2 over 3 pi as our answer in this case. So in the event that you are told to give this value as in terms of r cos theta plus I sin theta, it means that in this form, our complex number here now is going to be r is actually 8 into cos negative 2 over cos negative 2 over 3 pi plus I sine negative 2 over 3 pi as the answer in that case. So for exponential form now, for exponential form here, this answer is going to be z is going to be in exponential form is going to be, because in exponential form z is given as actually r e to I theta. This is the exponential form. This one is going to be z is equals to 8 e to negative 2 over 3 pi. Now this is the exponential form. So the most important thing is to know when you are measuring angles from 0 to 2 pi, you are going to move in that direction. You will have angles which are more than 180 and so on. But if you are finding the angles using this range, you are going to use this direction.